You're listening to the Cricket Unfiltered Podcast. I'm Menczel. I'm with Jelisa and Paul. And it's that time where we all have our little bit of cricket news that we just can't let go through to the keeper. Jelisa, because we've missed you, what's yours? You can open up the batting.
I'll open up my notes. So this is a little bit of a defence of T20 is killing Test cricket. And this is... I saw this interview after the Test match wrapped up so bloody quickly that Fox were desperately running everything that they could. But it was Harsha Bhogle on Cricket Legends with Crash Craddock. So if you haven't seen that, it is. Definitely. I mean, I love Cricket Legends. I just think it's the best thing ever. But this was a really good interview, and I just really liked his defence of 2020 cricket. Was something that I hadn't thought about it in a way before. And he was basically saying 2020 cricket is not ruining Test cricket. It's actually protecting Test cricket. That essentially Test cricket would have already been, dying out if it hadn't been for 2020 reinvigorating the game, which I think we all know. But the way that he sort of explained it, I just really liked the way he put it, where he said, it's actually our lifestyles that are killing Test cricket. It's the fact that we all have really short attention spans. And if you look back and when Test cricket was really strong, we didn't have all these other things distracting us and entertaining us. And it's actually T20 sort of building this protective bubble around Test cricket. And I just really liked the way that he put it, because I knew that we were going to shit all over the IPL, stopping players from playing Test cricket. But I do think we just have to start and be a bit more open. And it was one of the very few commentators that I've heard be open to it. There are a lot that are very protective.
Yeah, there was a BCCI official with a pistol in his mouth.
No, but it's a good point. You should go back to when Menczel and I did the Big Smash podcast a few years ago. Our first episode, we made that exact point that T20 cricket is the best thing that's ever happened to Test cricket.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, I always thought it was the best thing. It was a great thing to happen to cricket generally, but I never thought of it protecting Test cricket. And the way that he said it was amazing. Go and watch the whole interview if you haven't.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
It's so good.
All right, my Can't Let It Go for this week. I'll start with a nice one. Just a shout out to Beth Mooney and Georgia Redmayne, who put on 271 runs in the WNCL. It's the highest ever partnership by any Queensland pair in the WNCL. Beth Mooney made the highest score by a Queenslander in the comp, 163, and Redmayne 121. If you don't know, Georgia Redmayne's a doctor, so she can do it all, that one, doctor and star cricketer.
Imagine being that talented.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying. But now, my Can't Let It Go is surprise, surprise, there's a couple of English cricketers that have no sense of humour and barely any personality by the looks of it. So after the match finished in 2 days, Alex Hartley, who is a former England international, tweeted out, "Nice of the England boys to get this Test match finished just before the England women play tonight and then catch them on," and she's put where you can watch them. Now, clearly that is a joke. Clearly she's just bigging up the England women's team. There's no snarkiness to that at all. Just a light-hearted tweet. But Ben Duckett tweeted out that he thought it wasn't a very good tweet. And Rory Burns, who's in the England squad at the moment, wrote, "Very disappointing attitude considering all the boys, in inverted commas, do to support the women's game." Now, Ben Duckett and Rory Burns take a good hard look at themselves. It was an atrocious reaction to a light-hearted tweet by a former England international cricketer. I know Rory Burns was reprimanded, but they both just look terrible. And, we've made so many advances with women's cricket, yet still, you look at a tweet that Alex Hartley puts out and there's dozens of these sexist assholes who reply like, this is C.S. Lewis and his Twitter handle is Deegan Scum. "I'd rather submerge my head in a deep fat fryer. Thank you very much."
Feel free.
And Jack Beach 1999. I don't know one person who watches women's cricket. I mean,
I reckon Jack doesn't hang out with a lot of women.
Yeah, I don't think any of these people do. And I'm Team Hartley. And yeah, I mean, I always thought Duckett and Burns and most English cricketers looked humorless, and certainly appears that way.
I don't think that they had to respond. I think their response was a bit lame, and it made them look like they were bad sports and they couldn't take a bit of a joke. And the responses to her tweet were disgusting.
Yeah,
but I actually didn't like her tweet. I just thought it was a bit of a. I get that she was trying to make a joke, but I thought, and I don't think she deserved really bad responses, and I think everyone could have just gone, oh, that was a bit of a shit tweet, and just moved on with their life and kept scrolling. But I did think...
How is it a shit tweet?
I thought it was a bit of a cheat.
Just making a joke that, I think 2 days and I can watch the women play tonight.
I don't think you'd see Elisa Healy tweeting that. I don't know. I just didn't like it. I thought it was a cheap shot, and I didn't think it was particularly funny. And I thought it...
I just don't see any cheap shot in this.
You could have promoted it. You could have promoted that game. And look, I get it was a joke, and it's a joke gone wrong, and I don't think it's that serious. I don't think we all need to sort of stop taking sport so damn seriously. But I didn't like the tweet. I just thought it was a bit of a cheap shot and wasn't that funny. And I never liked this war against the women's side of the team and the men's side of the team. And if you're going to tweet that, if you're going to give it, you're going to have to take it. I don't think she should have got the responses that she did, but Burns can defend his team and defend his position. Yeah, I mean you got to. I don't want to get to this point of it's sort of patronising because she's you can't come back at her. I think that's a little bit patronising. Well, if you're going to tweet it, you're going to get it back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for all these. I'm not happy, but, you put that out there, you're going to get responses from those scumbags. But I just think if another international cricketer should just go, she's having a laugh. Yeah. And mute her if you don't want to see her tweets.
Yeah.
One thing I found annoying about Burns' tweet was the fact that he put boys in inverted commas, and it's kind of him saying, oh, we can't call them girls, so they shouldn't be allowed to call us boys. I just loved Isabel Westbury's response to that, and she said... she's former England cricketer. And calling them boys, seriously, the reason the reciprocal girls is so damaging is because of the weight of history, discrimination and condescension behind it. And I think that was really well said.
Yep. I think it's a tweet and we all need to calm down. But doesn't mean I like the tweet.
Yeah, well, I think, Paul, what's your Can't Let It Go?
My friend James Brayshaw. I've never met him. He doesn't know me, but...
Hi, James.
James, can we be mates? No, but people often criticise him, and I quite like him. I was just scrolling through YouTube randomly, and I saw a story that he told, which I just felt quite interesting, of his retirement from domestic cricket. So he was a very good cricketer for South Australia, averaged 42.5, and he made the point that in his final 2 seasons, which 94-5 and 95-6, he did really well. One of them he averaged about 65, one of them he averaged about 45, and in that 95-6 season, South Australia won the Shield. Anyway, he realised midway through the next season that he could no longer afford to play cricket because he was getting paid so little. And he got an offer from South Australian Radio that was going to double his contract. Now, I started working in an office job just only 3 years after this. So when you sometimes hear salaries from the old days, you think, oh, maybe it was worth more then. But I know. He was earning $36,000 a year. And he said the last year he'd played in every Shield game. They'd made the final, and they made the final of the one day. So he basically got the most match payments that you could get for a non-Australian domestic cricketer, and that was what he put on his group certificate: $36,000, which is that was a low wage in 1997. And I just love the story. Firstly, it's very sad that someone as good as him, he was 29, averaging 42.5. If he was around today with those figures, he'd be knocking on the door of. He'd probably be in the Test side. Yeah. But it was a pity that he was lost to Australian cricket for probably another 5 or 6 years. He probably was never going to play for Australia, but he would have enhanced the Sheffield Shield competition by being in it. And uncharitable people would say it would have kept him away from the microphone for long, which I don't agree with because I think he's a really decent commentator. But I just like the fact that he went in and when he sort of said to the manager, and look this up on YouTube because you'll say it better than me, but when he said to the manager that he's going to have to retire, he said, I was open to being talked out of it. And the manager just replied, said, oh, cool. Yep, we'll change your next flight to one-way flight. I'll alert the selectors and we'll drop you from the next game. See ya. And that was him. That was the end of his career. It was, so look it up. It's a pretty interesting story the way that he talks it, and it's great that these days state players don't have to make those decisions anymore.
Yeah.
He's obviously my main competition for Bruce McAvaney's job calling the AFL.
Yeah, it's anyone's talking about. Will it be Manners? Will it be Brayshaw? It's right up there.
Oh, it's so will it be?
All right, well, we've come to the end of Cricket Unfiltered. If you're not on YouTube and you're still here, Paul, have a good week. Lots of cricket coming up. Test matches, domestic cricket, T20s. Jelisa, have a good week.
Thank you.
Hope we see you next week.
Yeah, I hope so too, unless you punt me.
Well, we won't be doing that.
One thing before we go, just to congratulate Manners, he has paid for a subscription to watch the Pakistan Super League.
Yes.
His level of interest, and I'm thinking of doing the same thing, but
It's like $5.
That's awesome.
Even
Can you-
Brayshaw in 1997 would have been able to afford
That's
it.
awesome. Can you send me a login?
Well, I'm not.
yeah, send me yours as well. Next week, send it out to everyone so we can all.
You head to the show notes. But actually, got to say, the Pakistan Super League is a good, very good standard of T20 cricket. So I've enjoyed the couple of games I've watched, and we'll be back next week with another podcast.